How's it going? Tyler Schwartz here with Tyler Teaches, where I teach you some of my favorite dance steps and tricks. Let me first say thank you so much for the 1,000 subscribers. I really appreciate that, and I've just been enjoying building this channel, so thank you. Today we're talking about one of the most common Irish dance tricks and also one of the most recognizable, and that's drums. Or if you're in Chicago, I grew up learning them as rolls. So there's a few different words for this rhythm, but drums is the most commonly used one, so we're going to use that today. And I wanted to talk about a specific technique that really helped me understand, the three rhythms within a drum. And let me also state that there are a bunch of different techniques and ways that we can talk about drums and teach them effectively. And I'm not saying one technique is better than the other necessarily. They're all good for different reasons, Some of us are very great visual learners, others learn by doing. So this technique in particular really helped me understand, so I wanted to share that with you. Also, it's worth stating that we could talk all day about drums. There's so many different pieces and parts to it. Today, for the sake of time, we're not going to go through every single little detail. And my hopes is that this video can be a stepping stone towards getting stronger drums. But with that, let's jump on over to the studio. Great. So I want you to think of drums as a collection of three sounds, or three parts to it, okay? We're starting with our back foot, our front foot front tap, and our front foot heel, okay? So back foot tap, front foot heel, okay? And those three sounds make up the triplet. And if you don't know what a triplet is, it's kind of a collection of three rhythms, actually how musicians would phrase three sounds. Insert image of triplets, and you'll be able to see there's three thingies. So there you go, triplet. And so drum is a really great basic entrance into the realm of triplets, and in Irish dancing there are a lot of them. But mastering a drum helps you understand and get stronger with the other triplets that move on from there. It's kind of like a walk before you run type of thing, and walking in this case is our drums, and that helps you do the more advanced stuff. So I'll be counting it out as 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, because we're going to have three consistent beats or three consistent sounds that make up this, and there's not one that's faster or slower than the other. Again, when we do our drum later on much faster, that's how we get that zing to it. But it's three consistent rhythms. So 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. And so in general, for two of these counts, our weight will be balanced on the back foot. So in general, we don't want to be leaning too much into these drums. We want to, for the most part, we're going to be rolled back onto that back foot for most of it, okay? For two of those counts, our back foot is the balancing leg, and for one of the counts, we transfer to the front foot. So the first exercise I want to go over is just going through that, how for the first two counts, we're going to have our weight on the back foot, and the third count we transfer body weight to then transfer back for one again. So we're going to do 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1. Okay, so as you can see, all my weight's balanced back here. Okay, so 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1. Okay, let's try that one more time. Do that straightforward, yeah. Here we go. And 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1. Now we know that the third rhythm is actually a heel. So now let's try that same exercise. Again, we're skipping the second rhythm just so we can practice this shift of body weight. Let's exchange that front foot change of body weight, instead of going up on our toe or on our front tap, let's go onto our heel. Okay, so the only difference is instead of going onto our front foot, we're actually going to go onto our heel. Okay, so it'll go 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1. Okay, so most of the weight will be still on that back foot. All right, all our weight's there, our shoulders are rolled back, all the balance is there. All the control is coming from that back foot. All right, let's try that one more time. Here we go. And 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1. Okay, great. So up until now, we've been focusing primarily on the exchange of body weight from one foot to the next, and we've been skipping that second rhythm. Now we're going to incorporate that rhythm, which we know is that front tap, okay? And I don't want you to just put your foot down. I want you to you want to give it a little bit of a curl, and you almost want to carve into the floor, almost scooping into the floor, as if you're going through the floor, not just putting your foot down, but scooping through the floor. All right? And so give that a shot right now and scoop into the floor. And as you're scooping, all your weight is still on this back foot. Okay, we're scooping, but that's still all the weight's here. We're not going to scoop and go onto that. All right, so that's a big thing right there. Okay, we're scooping, but we're not pushing our weight onto that foot. Okay, all our weight is still on our back foot, balanced there. So now we're going to incorporate that. Again, we're going to start with our back foot, down, scoop, and then change the body weight. Okay, so here we go, and 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. Try that sideways. So you can see the small shift of body weight. Ready? 2, 3, and 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1. Okay? There we go. So now try this exercise on. We're going to do two drums that are only doing the first rhythm and the third rhythm, and then 2 drums that follow it that incorporate all 3. All right, so it'll sound like this. 2, 3, and 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2. Okay, and don't forget still, on this first scoop, we're not going onto that, okay? Our balance and our control is still on that back foot. So that's a great exercise to work on, and genuinely, you can do that and repeat over and over and over again to really master that, okay? Sometimes with Irish dancing, it really comes down to repetition and practice. There's really not too many magic tricks out there. It really comes down to putting in the work in the studio or home studio right now. So one really cool thing about triplets is that you can double up on these to fit the same amount of space as the regular speed triplet. So for this regular triplet we're doing, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, we can double up on those to fit 2 drums into that same space that we just did 1. So we could go 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. So what we're going to do now is we're going to do our regular speed drum that we've been practicing, and then we're going to follow it up with 2 double time drums to that speed. So we're going to go 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, and so on and so forth. Ready? So here we go. 1, 2, 3. Okay. From side profile again. Watch my distribution of weight. For the most part, again, 2 out of 3. Our weight and balance is going to be resting on our back foot. So again, bring the shoulders back, allow yourself to dance and project outward, okay? Don't lean into it. Keep it all back, okay? 2, 3, and 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. So please practice that, all right? A good couple times. Same thing with our earlier version, just the regular drums. We've got to bring in the quantity at that quality, okay? Bring in the practice, bring in the repetition, master it, control it, and then move forward. Again, you got to walk before you run, okay? So up to this point, we've got our regular drum. We've got our double time drum to fit 2 drums into that 1 drum we had. And now we can actually triple up what we did at the very beginning. Our regular drum, we can fit 3 drums into that 1 drum. So when we counted 1, 2, 3, we're going to put a triplet into each one. We're going to put a drum into each. So 1, 2, 3, triplet, triplet, triplet. All right? 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. Pretty cool. Again, let's try it again. 2, 3, and 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. Good. Bless you. But really, you can change up the order in so many different ways. 2 double time into 3 triple time. You can even do 1 double time into 1 triple time into 1 double time into 2 triple times. That's one of my favorite ones. Not to overcomplicate it, but there's so many different applications for this. All right, so now briefly, I want to go over what I like to call shaky ankle that you may see with people doing their drums. It's really cool, adds a little bit of visual to the rhythm, adds a little bit more style. And when you see people do their drums in this way, you may think, wow, they have crazy flexible ankles to do all that. Well, yeah, the ankles are being used for sure to help, but our major workforce that's happening is actually up in the hip that's sending the info down to that ankle and working with it. All right, so it's not just the ankle, because if you're just doing the ankle, you can only go so far. It's that hip that helps bring it over. Yeah, not only does the hip help you get a further range of motion, but also if you try to do this with just your ankle, you could easily exhaust that ankle to a high degree. All right, so this gives it a little bit more help. And so when we break it down to its core, when this shaky ankle happens, within our 1, 2, 3 rhythms, we got our back foot, our front foot scooping in, and then on the front foot heel, that's when we scoop in and we rotate through our hip and into our ankle. Now this looks in the realm of Irish dance and trying to be as turned out as possible. This does not look great. So one of the big tips I can give you is get to this point, get a good range of motion going, but then on the 1, when we bring our weight back to our back foot, this flick out needs to be twice as sharp, twice as fast as our movement going here. Da, 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 da. Okay? So that this visual happens and is way more flashier and catches your eye way more than this visual. Okay? Now we need this to get that flashy flick back. Okay? So it's all important. But I would say is the movement going out here, we want twice as sharp to show the good turnout. So let's try some slow, regular speed drums. We're not going to do the double ups. We're not going to do the triple ups. All right? Just our regular 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. All right? And as we're scooping into our 2, we're going to bring it out for our 3, and then we're going to flick it back on our 1. 2, 3, and 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. You can even just practice it, just one of them, and add in one more one count. 1, 2, 3, 1. And just practice and isolate that flick back out, lifted third, ready for the next whatever it is that you might be doing in your step. 1, 2, 3, 1. Okay, again, 2, 3, and 1, 2, 3, 1. Okay, again, the transfer of weight is the exact same whether you're shaky ankling or keeping it straightforward and just going rhythm. The exchange of body weight doesn't change. The balance doesn't change. It's the same move. It's just added flair, added style. Let's try it. 2, 3, and 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1. So I'm going to leave you with 2 more big tips that I would give personally for drums. Number 1, the 1 sound, our back foot, should really be the strongest rhythm of the 3. They should all be very strong and loud. But if there was going to be one that was going to be the loudest, and it's probably the one that gets neglected the most, it's the back foot. That really sets the accent for the rhythm, okay? Very easily can the back foot kind of be stuck. All right? It literally needs to pick up on that exchange and driven into the floor. Having a strong back foot and that extra accent really brings out the volume and the sound and the impact that a drum can do. All right, so. It just adds so much. Okay, so that's another great thing to practice. And the best way to start practicing that, to bring out that back foot, dial it on back to the slow, regular version. And just practice it. It eventually will become muscle memory. My final tip I'd like to give is really, really prioritize the sound over the look. Everybody seems to want these shaky ankles, but sometimes aren't ready for them yet. All right, so we need to make sure we have that foundation of sound, or as I like to call it, soundation. No? Solid foundation of sound before we put in the shaky ankles. In other words, I need to hear you before I see you. So really prioritize the sound. Really make sure the sound is there. That back foot, all 3 rhythms nice and consistent as you double up and as you triple up, keeping that sound, and then add the visual. Then add the shaky ankles and the flair and the style. That'll all be there. And it'll actually be a lot easier once you have that foundation already there. You have that balance totally set. It's a whole lot easier to do that extra flair. And also having that foundation allows you then to move forward to the more complex triplets that we were talking about earlier, like the sidewinders or drum pullbacks. Being able to have that solid foundation of sound first and that balance makes learning those tricks so much easier because you already know where the balance needs to be going into it. So anyways, I hope that this technique helped you understand drums just a little bit better in what I find most important, and it helps you then build to faster, stronger, and eventually flashier drums. If you enjoyed this content, consider subscribing to the channel and be on the lookout for more content in the future. For now, I'll see you later. Whoosh.